As someone who pays attention to the job market in depth, I mean, I'm looking at it basically every single day, looking at what's happening in the job market, where the jobs are, who is looking for work, who isn't looking for work. I'm starting to feel like there's something that could be happening in the job market. And so this is an observation based on a few different data points that I feel like I've seen over the last couple of days. And the first that I'll bring up is this chart here, which looks at new job postings on Indeed.com. And I mean, it's very clear that at the depths of, at the start of the pandemic, which March, of 2020, you can see that, job postings went down. Of course, it was almost a crazy time to be in business, and nobody knew what was happening. There was a bunch of layoffs, a bunch of furloughs, and you can see the kind of uptick since then. And really, the heyday or the the feast of opportunity that's out there looks like it's slowing, and you can see that in the downtrend since really the start of 2022. Indeed.com, the economist that's quoted in this article talks about it at being a plateau, but to me it looks a little bit like it's on the decline. And so new job openings or new job opportunities posted to Indeed are falling. I saw another stat today that said that 10% of job postings on LinkedIn or in general mention that they're remote opportunities. So as much coverage as remote work gets and working from home gets, it's still a relatively small portion of the entire economy in terms of where the opportunities are. And the kind of inherent benefits of working from home, of course, people want to tap into. I've also explored on much earlier videos some of the downside to working from home, especially if you're in a creative role, and how difficult it is to manage and be creative and have all the collaborative stuff work in a remote environment. And actually, we're starting to see even some new research come out academically that talks about how it's difficult to be creative and be collaborative in a remote environment. And so, that for all the benefits, there are a few drawbacks, but that's beside the point. The point being that there's much is said about the desire for remote work and remote opportunities, and it's important to be aware that only a small percentage of the entire swath of job opportunities is actually remote. And then the third point is a story that was sent to me on Instagram. It's a Bloomberg, I think it's a Bloomberg opinion or a Bloomberg article that talked about how a significant percentage, I think it's 45% or between 30 and 50% of millennials or a certain cohort are regretting their decision to have quit their job or changed job during the Great Resignation. And so, if we think back over the last 24 months or so, I mean, we've had basically month over month 4.5 million quits in the U.S. I mean, it's been a really steady number of people who've quit their jobs with this mindset that it's easy to find a job right now. I'm going to go and do it. And I think as we're starting to see the labor market tighten slightly, you're starting to hear and read reports of individuals regretting that decision. I talked in a previous video recently about the LIFO phenomenon, last in, first out. Again, taking it from inventory, taking it from an operations context, but then bringing it into the human capital space. Companies on a long enough time horizon reward loyalty. They reward somebody's specific skills that they pick up working at an organization. And if you're the first, or if you're the last person to go into an organization, if you're one of the most recent people to join, and the company has to make a decision around who to let go, to cut costs or whatever they need to do in terms of balance sheet management, they're typically going to look at the individuals who came in most recently because of a few dynamics, the value added over time. And then also companies typically reward loyalty. It's kind of one of the touch points or the cornerstones of American capitalism and the way corporate or corporations work is that the deferred compensation only works if you allow for rewarding of tenure or loyalty. And so what I think is going to happen now, if we think of those 3 data points, so a plateauing of open job opportunities, so people aren't, companies aren't posting as many jobs online, the remote kind of tidbit there where people are looking for remote work, but it's only a small portion of the jobs, and the idea that lots of people are starting to regret the decision to quit their jobs in the last 24 months to look for new work. I think you're going to start to see this squeeze where the reason why a lot of people quit their job is, okay, yeah, maybe they're chasing a little bit more money, but a big percentage is because people are looking for what they would consider maybe a more ideal work arrangement for themselves. And the only way, I mean, if you think about somebody going from, working at a manufacturing plant to working at another manufacturing plant, yeah, I can see that maybe they're making the move for more money, and that makes a lot of sense. But that move isn't a work arrangement move in terms of, I want to go from working at an office or working at a plant to working from home, right? That the work from home portion is kind of the leap here that I'm making in terms of an assumption as to why people want to change jobs for the most part. And so all else being equal, I think that is probably the reason why people feel so confident. I'm not enjoying what I'm doing right now. I can probably go find a role where I can work from home and be a little bit happier, for example. And so and what I'm predicting is that we're going to see this squeeze where these remote opportunities are going to over-index. They're going to be super saturated. People are going to vie for those. So, companies are going to have massive opportunity if they stick to if they are the kind of company that can do remote work, to where they're going to have the pick of the talent pool that wants to change jobs, and we're going to be left with this transitory kind of workforce that wants to make a move to remote work but isn't qualified enough or hasn't been chosen to work in those roles. And we're going to have this percentage, whatever it ends up being, 20, 30, 40% of individuals that are just unhappy and kind of floating around. And I think that's going to be the next area that as a workforce we're going to have to pay attention to. And as an economy we're going to have to pay attention to, because these are the individuals who I think are inherently also high turnover, kind of job hoppy in a way. And so if this cohort of individuals can't land the remote work that they want, the work from home jobs that they want, what are they going to do? And how is that going to impact our economy going forward? I think it's something that we're going to have to deal with as an economy, as a workforce, because if we have this percentage of workers who can't land somewhere, who can't match to a role that is really productive for the U.S. economy at the very least, we're going to see, I think, the kind of trouble that we saw even at the start of the pandemic, where we saw older workers who were able to leave the workforce as a function of their 401ks or their stock portfolios or just having enough money to pull forward their retirement. I think we're going to see something similar to where we cannot get a group of workers in roles that are at optimized, at least for productivity at the GDP level, or at the at the productivity level that we need as a U.S. economy. So something to look for. I hope these 3 data points were very interesting when I saw them. And hopefully I put this together in a way that makes coherent sense. But I'd love to know your thoughts. If you have any thoughts, drop us a note, leave a comment below. We're always happy to hear.